Hello everyone, what's going on? Welcome to SD's Chess World and I hope you are doing well. Today we will going to see a very interesting match between Grandmaster Wesley So and Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen in Altibox Norway Chess 2018 round 6. So before going to it, don't forget to subscribe the channel. Now you've done that, let's go for it. Wesley So has a white pieces here and Magnus Carlsen has a black pieces. Wesley started with d4, queen pawn opening, d5, c4 and c6. Now Magnus Carlsen plays for Slav's defense. Wesley goes for c takes on d5 and c takes on d5. Slav defense exchange variation. Bishop to b4 and knight to f6. Knight to c3 and knight to c6. Knight to f3 and a6 was played. Stopping the future moves by this knight to b5 or developing this bishop to b5 after this pawn moves. Rook to c1, this move you will see nowadays because in future maybe black going to develop his queen and his bishop to make a strong attack on this diagonal to this h1 square, because definitely white is going to castle king side. So here bishop to f5 was played, making room for rook, also grabbing this diagonal. e3 and rook to c8. Now still there is a symmetry on the board, just white has more development than black because white have started. So bishop to e2 and e6 was played. After that white castles and knight to d7. Now this knight to d7 is a really nice move. In future this knight can jump on this b6 square. After that it can go for this c4 square, which is definitely going to be good for black. Here knight to a4 and bishop to e7. Now going for castling h3. Here finally black castles a3 and knight to a5. Now again game is moving toward the symmetry. Knight to c5 and Magnus goes for knight to c4. Now these two knights are doing really great job because they are covering lots of squares. So b4 and Magnus immediately go for knight takes on c5. Here d takes on c5 and knight takes on a3. Now black get this a3 pawn. Now here Magnus is expecting this queen to d4 move, that is after this queen to d4 knight to c4 can be played. Bishop will take on c4, d takes on c4 and knight to d4. Now attacking the bishop, bishop goes back to bishop to g6. So this is okay for black, so Magnus go for it, but in the game Wesley goes for knight to d4 first. Now there is attack on this bishop, so either this bishop have to stay here, but if stays here then knight will definitely grab. After this knight take here, pawn have to take and black is going to mess up his own pawn structure. So bishop to e4. Now f3, bishop to g6, retreating bishop finally, and queen to d3. Now there is attack on the knight. Knight goes to knight to c4 and bishop takes on c4, d takes on c4 and queen takes on c4. Now Magnus goes for queen to e8 and this move is covering this diagonal, and future this queen can jump on this c6 and b5 square. After that bishop to e3 was played. And why this bishop to e3? Here Magnus can push this pawn ahead to grab both of them. Let's have a development move, that is rook f2 d1, and after that definitely Magnus will push this pawn. This pawn must be taken, so bishop have to take, and after that here bishop takes this pawn. Of course queen can't take because of this rook, so pawn have to take the bishop and black will grab the bishop with the extra pawn. So considering this, bishop to g3 was played. e5, now attacking on the knight, knight to b3 retreating, and bishop to d8. Now this bishop to d8 is quite a complex move because this is covering this diagonal, but it is differentiating between this rook and queen connectivity. Here Wesley plays excellent move, queen to d5. Now queen is attacking on this e5 pawn, which is also attacked by this bishop. Also queen is threatening to grab this b7 pawn. So Magnus defends it with queen to b5, supporting this pawn over here, and then he don't mind to capture this pawn, because his plan, if bishop captures here, then queen can capture this pawn. Wesley goes for bishop takes on e5, and now black can capture this pawn. If black captures this b4 pawn with the queen, then bishop to d6, and now there is attack on this rook. If this rook moves, then there is going to be disaster. Rook to e8 played, then c6. Now developing this pawn will grab this pawn on b7. Also there is attack on the queen, so you have to move the queen. Queen will go to queen to b6, and now c takes on b7, supported by this queen. And you can see there is no defense, because this rook can't go for this b8 square due to this bishop. This bishop is a monster bishop over here. So of course Magnus don't take that pawn, he goes for bishop to e7, and now Wesley simply goes for queen to d2, supporting this pawn on b4. After that rook f to d8, attacking on the queen, and here bishop to d6 was played. And now you can see this bishop can capture this bishop, but it is good for black? Then let's check. Bishop takes the bishop, then c takes on d6. After that queen to d3 can be played, supported by this bishop. Want to exchange the queen, but first here d7, and now there is attack on this rook. If queen captures the queen over here, then d takes on c8 with the queen. Now rook have to defend, so rook to f8, and knight takes on d2, and black is completely losing this game. If here rook captures the queen, then rook captures here with a check. Of course you have to lose this queen, so of course queen don't capture. Rook to b8. Now going for defensive move. After that queen takes on d3, and bishop takes on d3, queen exchange, and here rook f to d1, attacking on this bishop, and bishop have to move, and this rook can defend this pawn. Bishop to b5 can be played, and there is double attack on this pawn. After that this knight to c5 can be possible, but definitely this pawn is going to be defending this position. So these are the possibilities. It is going to be a good or bad for black. We can say good for black. Bishop to f6 was played in the game, and after that e4 is played. Now this light square bishop is losing his activity. He don't have anything to do over here. Activating it, h6 was played. After that knight to d4, attacking on this queen. So instead of retreating this queen, bishop takes on d4 with check, and queen takes on d4, and rook to e8. Rook f to e1, and king to h7. Now this pawn can be moved, and bishop can go for some activity. g4 was played. Now Wesley started his attack, so f6 was played. After that f4. Now definitely next move will be this f5, queen to c6, attacking on this pawn twice, but here f5. So bishop to f7 and h4. Now you can see this pawn are really doing massive attack, what we can say. Rook to a8, and Magnus just want to push his best pawn further. Here Wesley goes for rook to c2. After that a5 was played, and g5, and definitely next move will be this g6. So bishop to h5 was played. Now this bishop is taking over this d1 square. Of course this bishop don't have any good activity over here. g6 check, and king to h8. After that b5 was played, and this is the excellent move played by Wesley. Now giving up this pawn, but there is a counterplay. Queen takes on b5 now, and rook to b2 was played, and that's why this rook is jumped to this c2 square. It is defended by this queen, and there is attack. Here queen goes for queen to c6, and rook to b6, still attacking on the queen, supported by this pawn over here. After that d8 was played, and here queen to d5. This bishop is a monster bishop. It is controlling this entire diagonal, restricting the movement of queen and these two rooks. Also here rook and queen is attacking on this b7 pawn, and there is no defense. Rook can't go for a defense. Of course it can't jump on this b8 square because of this bishop, and if it goes for this a7 square, then there is a queen to f7. And now you can see there is a move, that is c6, and pawn can capture. If here pawn push on a4, then c6, of course pawn can capture because this rook is hanging. Instead of that, a4 was played. Now waiting for activity here, rook takes on d7, and if here if black goes for this a3, then it is going to be end quickly because rook captures on g7. And here you have to capture queen to f7 with check. King have to move, and because there is a extensively 12 move checkmate is available if all the pieces try to restrict it. But here if queen captures the rook, then queen to h7 with checkmate. So definitely rook to g8 defending that overall variation. c6 was played, and you can see this pawn is now definitely going to be threaten everything. So in this position, Magnus Carlsen resigns the game. This is the move 44, so there is no time pressure over here, but there is no good counterplay for black here. I have made some variation like a3, c7, then definitely queen have to capture this rook because there is not going to be a good for black over here. If a2 was played, then definitely rook b to b8. After that a1 to queen, rook takes on a1, rook takes on a1 with check, king to f2, and rook to c1 defending this pawn. Of course rook takes on c8, and if rook takes the rook, then still there is a threatening move which black can't defend. A brilliant game played by Wesley So. This is the first win of Wesley So against the Magnus Carlsen in Classic. There are some 11 to 13 games played in between them. This time Magnus Carlsen also commented that this game he lose just because Wesley So plays excellent moves. Of course there is going to be an interesting tournament over here. Let's see the standings. So after round 6, Magnus Carlsen with a 3.5 point, and after that there is a Wesley So who don't lose a single game. There is Aronian on third place with 3 points, and after that Viswanathan Anand, Hikaru Nakamura, Sergei Karjakin, Caruana Fabiano, and Mamidaro is on 2.5 point, and Maxim Vichlav is on 2 point. So Dingler is not in the competition. He withdrawn from this tournament due to his injury. So there is a 7th round today, that is on 5th of June. I'm looking forward to it, and definitely I will post next video with another interesting match from Norway Chess 2018. And there is a question for you. What do you think about this tournament? Who will win this tournament? Looking forward for your comments. So I hope you like this game. If yes, then go ahead, hit that like button, and if you watched this video until here, then that means I am doing a good job. Then go ahead, hit that subscription button. For that, hit that red circle. You can watch my previous videos over here. Also you can join me on Facebook, Google+, Twitter. You just have to search SD Chess World. And thank you so much for watching this. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.